So, hey everyone, this is Dr. Drizzle, and we are so excited to have you here for our final Crossing America presentation for the school year. We ask that you come in. You can keep your microphones muted for now, but feel free to keep your camera on if you would like to. We have a lot of classes that'll be watching this later, so reminding you that this is recorded, and we're very, very excited to be here. So we are going to ask Mr. Kraus, who is our co-host for today. He will be letting people in so we can get started. But again, we're very excited to have you here. And we want to encourage you today, as you think about this new national park, to think about ways this summer that you can stay involved with the national parks. We're going to give you some links so that you can click on those for the summer and take your parents or family members virtually to the national parks, but also find ways to get out into nature this summer. So it could be a national park, it could be a state park or a local park. We just want you to continue the learning. So again, welcome to the National Parks Adventure Crossing America. We are doing this in collaboration with the National Park Foundation. And if we get about 128 students on here today, we're going to reach our 150,000 number for this school year from November till now. So Rodney, you and Kim Kastner and Sherry, if you can keep your eyes sort of on the chat and make sure that we have everybody here. But before we start, can we find out where you're from? So in the chat window, can you drop in the chat window where you are from? Okay, so North Carolina, Bowling Green, Kentucky. We're also from North Carolina, so we're glad. Another one from Kentucky. Kentucky's in the house today. We have some people from Michigan here, from the MotorCities. I see them coming in. So this is great. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. I want to remind you that we are continuing our scrapbook program. So a lot of you have been sending in the copies or duplicates of your scrapbook pages, and they are amazing. We want to remind the teachers that on the website, expeditionsineducation.org/4th grade, on each page, you're going to find the stamps that you can right click and save those to your computer so kids can actually glue those right into their notebooks. As we get started today, we're going to be going to the MotorCities National Heritage Area. So there are a couple things that you're going to want to take notes on. First of all, where is this located? So we're going to find that out in just a few minutes, and then you're going to be kind of surprised on that one. Why is it important? How is it connected to the National Park Service, and how is it different from any park that we have visited this year? We're going to talk a lot about the stories, and then we're going to issue this STEM challenge to you today that's going to be a lot of fun. So get your paper ready so you can take notes. Get your pencil or markers ready so you can do that. And I am excited to get started, so let's go. So again, thank you. We're going to MotorCities National Heritage Area today. We actually filmed at the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation, which was very exciting for us. It was our first time there. We are going to take you back on that adventure today, share a couple of new things with you. And again, we thank the National Park Foundation for making all of this possible. In our Crossing America series, we talk about the geography of the park, the science, the stories, which can sometimes be the history of the park. And then we issue a STEM challenge because we know that you guys are the best problem solvers out there. So first of all, where is it? So Michigan is the highlighted white spot on the map on the right side of the screen. And then I also included the counties that were part of Michigan. So you're probably saying, wait a minute, I knew about the hand. When you hold up your hand, you can actually talk about different places in Michigan, but there's this whole other flying fish bird thing up on top. And that's very interesting too. So I'm going to encourage you as you do some research of the state of Michigan and the Motor Cities National Heritage Area, that you look at those upper peninsula places and find out what is also there. There is another national park in Michigan called the Isle of Royale, which is a island. So that's going to be all the way up near the top on its separate little island. But today we are celebrating the Motor Cities National Heritage Area. So excuse me for just a second, I did that backwards. So we would like to talk to somebody that works there. So Bob, we see you on the screen right now. So we're going to ask you to unmute. And Bob, would you tell us about your job at the Motor Cities National Heritage Area?
Yes, hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Sadler, and I'm the communications manager of Motor Cities National Heritage Area. We're based in Detroit, Michigan, but we have a National Heritage Area that covers a big chunk of Michigan, about 16 counties in Michigan, about 10,000 square miles. So a pretty good chunk of the lower part of your hand, if you want to use that analogy. And my colleague, Brian Yap, who did the video at the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation, should be able to join you shortly. We actually are at a location today where we had our annual meeting for our members. And so we're actually at a location right next door to the Henry Ford Museum of American Innovation. We're at the Automotive Hall of Fame today, which is another one of Motor Cities partner attractions. So, forgive us for being a little frazzled, Dr. Frizzle. Excuse me. And, because we've run from one meeting to the next today. And so we're happy to be part of the partnership with you and Expeditions in Education. And, Automotive has so many incredible stories of innovation and new technology, and so many themes of entrepreneurship and hard work, and all those kinds of themes that have made the automotive industry one of the biggest drivers of our American economy, and has even changed our way of life over the last 120 some years. So
that is a lot of history there.
Absolutely. And so I am actually hopefully going to be able to turn it over to our director of programs, Mr. Brian Yap, and he'll tell you a little bit more.
All right, that sounds great. So
watch the presto changeo that we're going to.
I can't wait. So let's make something magic happen there. Hey, Ranger Brian, we're so glad you're here.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Yeah. So Ranger Brian, they've already seen you. Like, they've seen the video and they've watched the wonderful things that we've already done on the video. But tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then I'm actually going to share some other places too with some video and with some pictures. But tell us a little bit more about what you do at the Motor Cities National Heritage Area.
Well, I get the pleasure of working with all of the partners, the automotive museums and the historical sites around Southeast Michigan that have anything to do with automotive or labor history. So automobiles, they weren't invented here. We didn't create it, but we certainly perfected it. We brought it forward in the 1900s and up and through the 2000s up until today. So I get the chance to work with all of those folks who continue to tell that story from a historical perspective, and also those who continue to create the automobiles. In fact, we're making some history today. Not too far from here, we're launching the all-electric F-150 pickup truck. And so that's sort of that next innovation in automobile. So I get the chance to work with all those folks all around. I think you may have seen our Michigan Mitten map all around the state of Michigan. We've got folks all over there that do that great work, whether it's the museums, or historical societies, whether it's events that draw in visitors from all over the world, or whether it's just individuals in their neighborhoods and communities that tell stories of automotive history. We get to have fun with all of them.
Well, Brian, we know that today is also a special day because you are launching, I think, your Junior Ranger program. I saw it on site. In fact, Steve can actually highlight that right now. Do you want to talk a little bit about your, let me pull it up on my side. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Junior Ranger program?
Excellent. Thank you. No, the Junior Ranger program is really exciting because the Motor Cities National Heritage Area started in 1998. And one of the main things we wanted to do when we started and continue to do today is show that connection between ourselves and the National Park Service, that we are a part of America's history, that when you come to a National Heritage Area, you're in a place that's connected to the national parks, just like if you go to the Grand Canyon or Washington Monument. And so we're in this heritage area, you're learning about a piece of America's story, and we just get to be the people who tell that story. It's our Junior Ranger program speaks to our audience, much like I see a lot of these smiling faces all around the country, but speaks to that audience of those of you who can now become Junior Rangers. No matter where you are across the country, you can log on to motorcities.org/junior-ranger. You can go through a few stops. We have 4 stops there that you complete some tasks there, and you will be a Junior Ranger of Motor Cities, even if you're not anywhere near where we are in Michigan. And hopefully you'll be as excited about that history as you learn about it from wherever you are. And we'll be happy to have you join our Junior Rangers.
Well, that's exciting. And we're excited because this will be sort of the rollout for this. So we have a couple classrooms that are live with us today, but we'll have thousands more that will get to do some of these activities. And teachers, let me encourage you that as we finish up a great school year and we're finishing strong, after all the testing and all those things are happening, these Junior Ranger programs will be a wonderful way for kids to plug in and learn more. First, go to Motor Cities, do theirs first because they have just launched and it looks amazing. But then you can check in on some of the others around the country. Well, Brian, we're glad you and Bob are here today. So we're going to go back to the deck for a moment, but hope that you hang out because something you said today really resonated with me. You guys tell a lot of stories there. In fact, one of your taglines on your website is many voices and one story. I think that's a beautiful thing that sort of talks about how we should be as humans, that all of us collectively should be telling this great story. So we know that in the National Heritage Area that Bob also shared that you're located all over Michigan. So I want to take a look at just a couple of the places and also share how you guys are celebrating people all over the world. So this was a very cool one, the Gilmore Car Museum in Hickory Corners. So this vehicle, which looks a little futuristic, was one from 1912. So kids, as we're thinking today about new transportation that we're going to try to create, I like the look of this one. We're also going to be introducing you to the Automotive Hall of Fame, which we just talked about a few minutes ago. And at this place, you're going to learn a lot of things about famous people that helped invent the different types of transportation. But I highlighted these 2 guys. So this one fella on the left is a designer. So he actually designs cars. His name is Ed Welburn. And if you follow any type of racing, you may recognize racer Mario Andretti. So there's going to be all types of things at this site where you can learn about early automotive pioneers. And all of these places link right off the Motor Cities site. Another place that's actually in Detroit is a beautiful building called the Detroit Historical Society. And that place is preserved so that people can understand, future generations can understand the people, the places, and the events that helped shape the lives of people in Detroit and Michigan. Now let's look at a couple of people. So we see our Ranger Brian up there, but we also see Clara Doughtley. Now, for those of you that have studied World War II, you may have heard of Rosie the Riveter. So Rosie the Riveter was the name given to women who went to work to take over some of the jobs that the men were having to leave as they went into World War II. And this beautiful lady at age 100 just told about her experience of being an original Rosie the Riveter. And you can find her interview online. We also love that they celebrate the Arab American heritage. So here we have a worker that worked at the Ford Motor Company. He was interviewed, so you're going to see what he contributed. This guy, Armani Williams, he's a Detroit-based NASCAR driver, and he has autism. And they are celebrating, the Motor Cities are celebrating him because he uses his platform of making people aware of autism and how he is coming up with new ideas to create better life outcomes for families impacted by autism. So he goes from coast to coast driving to celebrate that. We also have the story of Saban Blake, who is now part of their board of directors. And he has been working in the automotive industry for 23 years. Now, I'm not sure I believe that because he doesn't look but 20 years old, but they are celebrating him. And I love that they're celebrating people. Here's another interesting story, Ralph Teeter. So Ralph Teeter, if you've ever been in your car and your mom or dad or whoever you were riding with decided to put the car on cruise control, then you would have witnessed some of the inventions of this man who was blind and was a great engineer and inventor, and the Motor Cities are celebrating him. So here's my question to you. What is your story? Learning from the Motor Cities after you've watched the video and you've learned a lot about Motor Cities, what is your connection? Do any of your parents or relatives work in the transportation industry? And that could be from working on an assembly line back in the day. If you remember on the video, Brian's grandparents worked on the assembly line. They were in transportation. But do you have a family member that might work at a car dealership and sell cars? Or maybe you have someone that works on cars. Do you have any relatives who live in Michigan? You see, one of our goals for Crossing America is to show that we really are connected all around the country and all around the world. So for today's silent scenes, we're actually going to put ourselves inside of an assembly line from the early 1900s. So get your pencil and paper ready because you're going to be taking a few notes. Now, remember with these notes, we don't want you looking at your hands. We want you scribbling notes down or drawing, but we want you to keep your eyes on the screen because for this silent scenes, we're going to be looking at an assembly line. Remember, there are no sounds here. I want you to be thinking about the following questions. How many different jobs do you see happening on this assembly line? Earlier, before a lot of you got here, I talked to Mr. Krause's class, and they've already been talking about the assembly line and the Ford Model T. So they already know a little bit. Let's see what you know. And then for all my fourth graders out there, what type of simple machines do you see happening in this video? And then if you worked on the assembly line, what job would you prefer? So get those pencils ready. Let's go. I think one of the most interesting things is how focused each person is on their particular job. They're aware of what's happening around them, but they're very focused because they know that the part that they are doing is so important. If they turn away for a moment or if something gets by them, then when it gets to the next person, they can't complete their job. I think that speaks very well to us as how we should work together. We should make sure that we're doing our jobs extremely well so it makes it easier for others. Now, as you're looking at simple machines, I hope that you're seeing some pulleys. I saw some levers. I also saw a couple screws and then maybe some wedges in there. And then as you think about those simple machines, remember that simple machines are wonderful and that's how work is accomplished. but simple machines combined together make compound or complex machines. So let's finish this last 40 seconds when I'll stop talking so you can just look. I don't know about you, but those videos get me excited because I think about all of the things that were created with the innovation of a few people that came up with these ideas and then sent it out to the masses. So if you've already watched the virtual field trip, you know that our challenge today is to research the innovation of transportation and then the work of Henry Ford and others. As Brian said, they didn't create the cars there. Transportation has been around for a very, very long time, but they came together with these ideas. One of the things I really loved learning about is that they took old ideas and made them even better. And one of the ideas for the Model T Ford was to make sure that it was equitable and not too expensive so everyone could have one. So here's your challenge. We want you to think about the different types of transportation is out there. And then we want you to come up with what type of new transportation can you create that is affordable and equitable for all. It could be a new type of energy source. It could be maybe even using a new type of energy source that's not related to transportation, but has a connection to transportation. For example, maybe helping to keep the lights on for underdeserved or underserved communities. We want you to think out of the box. So I'm going to ask you to, in just a moment, we're going to share. So we're coming back to me and I want to show you a couple things I have. So this is a 1925 Ford Model T pickup. So it's a design. And then, of course, I have a robotic car here. I have my engineering hat because we want to put those things in our heads as we're thinking. I have a toolbox here of all the things I could use for my ideas. So teachers, we're going to ask that you have any students that would like to share their ideas about the next best thing in innovation and transportation. I am sure that Ranger Brian and Bob would be so excited to see these new ideas. So I'm going to ask if you want to share that you just raise your hand, and you can either raise the Zoom hand or you can raise your hand and we'll ask you to turn or take the mute off your microphone and let's share. So who's ready? Looks like Mr. Krause has someone coming up. So Mr. Krause, if you'll unmute your microphone and tell us who you are and share your idea.
They invented a solar car and then they saw another one dead making a water car.
So
Rodney,
Anthony
can you
said
ask
he
him to
saw
repeat?
he saw on TikTok, he wanted me to share for him that they have been working on a solar powered car and a water powered car that would be renewable.
Nice. So you're using the whole idea of renewable energy sources to think about how you would create that piece of transportation. I like that. Thanks for sharing that. Ethan, I see your hand up in the corner. If you want to share.
Yeah, so like yes, like the other person's car, like it would run on water and it would like be self-drivable. So like maybe like blind people can like make it easier for them to drive, or it could be voice activated like them. And also it does not have gas that can pollute the air.
I love that. So again, you're thinking about renewable resources, and we have water, right? So making sure that we can use all types of water would be something interesting. So I want you to think about that, because we have an abundance of salt water, and sometimes salt water is not very useful for our everyday lives, but maybe if we can turn that into a fuel, that would work well. Thanks for sharing that. Miss Mucha's class.
Thank you. Can you hear us okay?
Yes.
Yes.
What if we use our class has been using, some people use lemons to try to power a light bulb. So what if we could possibly use lemons to power a car?
I like that. Talk about that for just a minute. How would we do that?
Wire us up to the lemons instead of an engine to reduce gas use, and they could possibly power the car.
Okay, I like that idea. Let's see. Ariel, do you have another person? Your hand's still up on your screen, Miss Mucha. Do you have one more there? Then I'll go to another.
I do have more, but we can wait.
Okay, we'll come back. All right, Mr. Krause's class, it looks like you have someone on deck.
My name is Marion, and I had seen something on YouTube, and it was a wooden car, and they had made it out of gas, but instead I wanted to use something electric so you could charge it.
Okay, so something electric. And the other day we went to a Durham Bulls baseball game, and we couldn't park in one of the parking places because it was only for cars that could plug in. So I think that idea would be amazing. I think that would be a good idea for you to pursue. Thank you for sharing that.
One of the things that's interesting about automobiles is in the early 1900s, they tried all of these methods: steam, coal, gas, electric. These were ideas that existed even in the early 1900s. So the idea is, how do you take it and make it work so that it works for all the vehicles? And that's what we're still trying to figure out. But these are all great ideas, and definitely ones that existed early on that we need to just figure out how to innovate and make it work for everyone.
Right. And that's what I love about this whole process that we're doing with Crossing America, is we're getting the kids' ideas. And those are great ideas. And they're thinking about what has happened in the past and how they can do a new iteration of that. Thanks, Brian. Miss Kastner's class, and then we'll go to Miss Hall's class.
So I had an idea that you could make a timer for the light switch, and you could set the timer for however long you wanted. And then so it would turn off, so it would save you energy for other things.
I like that. And I actually like that better than motion light, just because sometimes I'm in a room that has motion lights and I'm working really hard working, and the light goes out and I haven't moved any, not because I'm being lazy, but because I'm on a computer. So if I could just set that to 18 minutes, I would work for 18 minutes and then take a break. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Miss Hall's class, and then we'll go to Miss Davis's class.
We have Neelan here.
I was thinking that maybe we can make a car for pollution.
Miss Hall, can you turn off your, oh yeah. So let me see the picture. The sound wasn't great, but there's the picture. Can you put that a little closer, Malin? Let me see. Nice. I love that drawing. Thank you for sharing that. We're going to give you an opportunity in just a little bit to share that to a flip grid. So I want to make sure I get that picture. So thanks for sharing that. Let's go to Miss Mucha's class. Let's go back to your class.
Sort of like a car, but with pedals and a steering wheel. Well, not really steering, like a bike steering wheel, and then have like a sort of like a seating in the back, so more people can come in too, just not yourself, just more people.
That's a great idea for fitness too, because if you're using the pedals to keep your car going, that's going to give you some energy, or you're going to have to expend some of your natural energy on that. I want you to check out an old cartoon that you might find on YouTube called the Flintstones, because back in the day, they had created those cars, and the cars they would use, they actually their feet ran on the ground. So I want you to check that out. Maybe your teacher can share a clip of that. What a great idea.
And some of the mechanics of that also came,
yeah,
automobile makers, a lot of them were bicycle makers, right? They knew how to take gears and wheels and put that sort of thing together to make it roll and flow. They just had to put an engine to it. And so a lot of what you see about the technology of automobiles started with bicycles, and we were bicycle makers here too.
Perfect. And actually there are some bicycles at the Henry Ford Museum from that era. And then also we want kids to check out our Wright brothers and our Dayton Aviation Crossing Americas and National Park Challenges, because you're going to find more ideas there too. Thanks for sharing that. Miss Hall's class. I see a hand up. I will come back to you in just a moment. Miss Davis's class, I see someone up at the camera.
I think you could use like a whole bunch of different recycled materials to make a car that could go on wheels that had water inside of them.
Yeah, and I would love to see like a prototype of that, maybe first drawing that on paper and then using recyclable materials to build that so that we can share that with the MotorCities National Heritage Area. Great idea. Let's take a few more. I see Mr. Krause has another student ready.
Raise your hand.
Hi, my name is Josiah, and I think we could use the self-driving water.
I like that idea too. See, this is what gets me excited. Teachers, think about this. Your kids are extremely smart. So if they come up with some really good ideas that the MotorCities National Heritage Area can share with car makers, you could retire early because they're going to be making all this money and they're going to be able to help you. Well, maybe not, but still, it sounds like a good idea for just a moment. Miss Hall's class, I see someone standing there with his hand up, so I'm going to ask them to unmute their microphone and share.
I would like to share that I made a floating car and I made heat coming out of the bottom of it. Since heat is so high, it'll rise up and it'll lift the car to be able to make it float.
There are so many things I love about that idea. First, I like the idea that it looks a little back to the future-ish, right? But you're also talking about chemical and physical changes, and you're also talking about a 4th and 5th grade standard about when hot air rises. So I like that idea and can't wait to see that continue. Let's go to Ethan, and then we'll go back to Miss Mucha. We've got some time, so we'll try to get as many in as we can. So there you go, Mr.
I have two ideas. One, an electric motorcycle with an airbag, and two, a car that can float on water with an airbag at the bottom.
I love that. Safety. Thanks for sharing that. Brian, what do you think about that? They're adding that safety feature in there with airbags.
That's really important. You have to make sure that whatever you do, you make sure it's safe for everyone. Motorcycles with airbags, that's probably long overdue, but that's a great idea for sure.
Nice. All right, Mr. Krause, and then we're going to be going to Miss Davis's class. And then I see a couple more. Just hang on there.
Hi, my name is Allison, and I thought about a good type of engine. It's called the Oakwood-Matic.
Get close. There you go.
Okay, tell me a little bit about it.
The Oakwood-Matic has a removable roof, and right now that's the summer vehicle because I have another one planned for the winter.
I like that. I like this kind of a transformer type of thing where you can take it out in all seasons. Thank you for that. Miss Hall's class, and then we'll go to Miss Kastner's class.
Tonight, real loud.
I made a hoverboard car which could go really fast, and I added 3 seats, an engine, some glass, and then I added a booster, like 2 wheels that could go really fast.
I've never seen a hoverboard with extra seats. I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, you're not just hovering for one, you'll hover for, you can take your whole family on the hover.
So possibly in the on the road, you would have a hoverboard lane for 4 and up, right? I love that. Miss Kastner's class.
Hi, my name is Adam, and I had like 2 ideas. My first idea is that my grandparents and my parents used to live in Egypt, and they told me about this bicycle that is kind of like a taxi, but it has like multiple seats, and so like you can pay the person who's driving the taxi to like not the taxi, the bike, and then you can drive to where you are with, like, since it has multiple seats. If that was sold like in more countries than just the US, I think we could we could use less gasoline and stuff like that. And to my other idea, I was thinking about one of my favorite games, Subway Surfers. And like the hoverboard on Subway Surfers, if that kind of existed, except the police doesn't chase you, and it's legal, and you can just float on the sidewalks, using if there would be a lane. If there would be a lane for those hoverboards, and it kind of works like those trains that hover, they use south and south like magnets that make it float, and that would work on the hoverboard.
So 2 things I love about this. First of all, you're learning from your relatives. So your family has told you stories about transportation from their country, from Egypt. So you're building on that connection. The second thing is, from a video game, from a game that you really love, you're taking another idea, but you're turning it into good and not bad. So you're right. We don't want people chasing us. But that seems like a really cool idea. I really, really like that. Miss Mooch's class, and then we'll go back to Ethan again. Can you get really close to the computer? We're having a hard time hearing you. Her teacher, can you repeat that closer to the screen? We didn't hear it.
Are you able to hear me?
Now we can hear you a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, she was saying a train that's just fully electric, so that way gasoline isn't used, which can also make people sick, and that way a lot of people can ride on it at once as well, and wouldn't have to drive it themselves.
Okay, I like that. Thanks. That's a great idea.
Electric trains, electric buses, that mass.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah. So Ethan's class, and then Miss Davis's class.
So I was thinking that we can make a car that we didn't have to use any gas with, and instead of using wheels, you can just have fire coming out of it, just like a jetpack. Like a car made like a van, and with the diamond shape the wheel, but we can fold it to make it look like a triangle, and the cars can move with no gas or electricity.
I think if you were to propose an idea of no gas to people, they would love that right now. So I think that would be a good idea. Miss Davis's class, and then Miss Kastner's class.
I had the decision of making an airplane-shaped car.
Nice. I like the shape of that, and you could get a lot of people in that.
You could get over 50 people in it.
Okay. Miss Davis's class, you have a few more in that line if you want to get them through.
I actually made something that was an electric car, and it's aerodynamic enough that it could fly with certain types of wings on it. And even though it's electric, it has a safety system. So if you accidentally run out of like power, then you won't die, because there's a safety system where it saves a certain amount, like 5% of the power left from when you charged it.
Great idea, and I love the safety. And there's one more behind you.
I created a car that can turn into a boat, and the boat can go 80 miles, but mostly if 40 miles, it'll go 40 miles. But if you go too fast, the battery will run down in 10 seconds.
Okay. All right. And then I see one more behind you.
A flying car, it can go 50 miles.
I like that photo. Thank you for sharing that. Miss Kastner's class, is there one more standing up there?
Hi, my name's Elise, and I was thinking that there could be something that is something like a go-kart that has a compartment with
Tommy,
with
Nicole.
no
I don't know how many
seats in it, and so there would be a ramp that could fold out, and then there could be wheelchairs, and then people on wheelchairs could just go into the compartment, and they wouldn't have to go into the seats.
Nice. And I love that you're trying to be accessible there. Miss Hall, we have time for one more to share out, and then we're going to give you a place where we're going to let everybody share on Flipgrid. So can you let one more share on your?
Yes, ma'am. Go, Austin.
Okay, so basically this is what I have. So basically this is like an extension. It's basically not only for cars, but you could put on a bike, on a scooter. It basically it's kind of like works for electric bikes and like electric scooters. It's gonna take a little bit more energy, but that's gonna make there's an engine right here that's gonna spin the turbine to make it fly. So you can just take them off, but you need to buy an attachment and this. So you can attach it onto an electric bike and an electric scooter. And also this one is a car that can swim on water. It has this little inflatable that is on both sides of the car, and that it lets it float on water.
Wow. And I love that you use words like turbine. Great words. Brian, do you have anything to say to these kids? I mean, this is pretty amazing, right?
It's awesome. I always say, we say around here, there's a phrase we use called tinkerers become titans. That you guys are coming up with great ideas that are going to shape the future of transportation. And you're really thinking about renewable energy resources and ways that we can cut out the gas emissions, but still be effective, have mass transportation, I heard people talk about buses or trains, airplanes, things that are modular, so you can switch between land and water. And that's awesome. These are all ideas that we should be seeing come to fruition in the future. So I'm so proud of all of these things that we're hearing, and they really will shape the future. One of the designers that you saw earlier talked about when he was a youngster drawing these photos and images, and his desire was to design cars, and he did it. So if you have a dream and idea for this sort of thing, keep at it, because you're doing great.
Very good. Well, kids, a couple things I want to share with you. Let's go to the deck for just a moment, because this is going to be for your teachers. Teachers, we want you to share all the ones that we heard today, plus the ones we didn't hear today. It's flipgrid.com/7181A128. We'll see if one of my teachers can drop that into the chat window for us. But that's where we're going to collect all of these amazing ideas. And as Brian said, tinkerers into titans. So your ideas could really revolutionize the world and change the world. And we want to make sure that you try to do that. Thank you, Mr. Krause, for dropping that in there. This is our last day of Crossing America, and we have had such an amazing 4 months. We have been to 12 different national parks. And one of my teachers just dropped in a number for today. So we did hit our 150,000 people. So can I see everybody in the classrooms just giving me a really big shake and woohoo, because we actually did it. We wanted to make sure we hit that. Excellent. For those of you. Okay.
All right.
Good. So for those of you who have not joined us before, let's go back to the deck one more time, that have not joined us before, you can find all of our Crossing America archives at expeditionsandeducation.org/4th grade. So we want to make sure that you go back and have some time to look at those, and kids, you can actually look at those on your own. So again, thank you for joining us and being part of our last event. Thank you to the National Park Foundation. Thank you so much to Brian and Bob and the MotorCities National Heritage Area. We want to encourage you, let me pull this up one more time, to jump on the Junior Ranger site. So I would love to see a couple of these up there because they can be done virtually. And I know that it would just give Brian a real big giggle, him and Bob both, if they can go ahead and start putting out there that people are already participating in the Junior Ranger program. So as we leave, Brian, any last words of advice for these amazing kids and teachers?
Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. I'm so glad that you all are interested in this. I wanted to also give a quick shout out. I don't know if he identified himself earlier, but we have one of our local classrooms, Mr. Clore, who is really taking it upon himself to teach his students about the value of national parks and literally take them on these expeditions as well. So he's doing it, putting it on his back, and I really appreciate you, Mr. Clore, as one of our local supporters and participants. But it's been our honor, our pleasure to be a part of this. Really excited, and hopefully there'll be an episode 2.
That would be great. And just to let you know, Brian, Trevor and I have already met. Mr. Clore reached out to us. And so we had a Zoom call last week, and we're going to try to get him at one of our expeditions this summer and hopefully back to his classroom or his school next year. So Mr. Clore's class, thank you for joining us also. So as always, can we turn on our cameras and get really big smiles so we can get a beautiful Brady Bunch screenshot here? So everyone is there. You look wonderful. I'll do a couple of screenshots. So if you want a couple kids to get in the picture, we would love that. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all, guys. We're going to ask you to finish strong this year. It's been a rough year, I know, for a lot of teachers and students, but I want you to finish strong, do your best, and then get out in the world and make a difference. So on behalf of Dr. Drizzle and Brian and Bob and the National Park Foundation, we are out of here. Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Krause, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your help in hosting, and we can't wait to see all of the amazing things that your kids come up with.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Dr. Drizzle. We'll see you on the next adventure.
All right. Bye.